ask, Bryan, how did you get started in sales? What did you do when you first started in sales? And it wasn't too long ago, maybe a little bit right before COVID happened, but I actually didn't start in sales the conventional way that a lot of people do, where they go to college, get a psychology degree, go and find a door-to-door job, or do something that gives them a salary. What I actually did was highly unconventional, and this isn't financial advice. This isn't me saying, do this the same way and you're gonna have success, but this is my story and kind of how I got started in sales. So tuning into, let's go about 8 years in the past. So right around, let's say 2018, 2019, what I found was I had a lot of inspiration to start a business. And so how I really got started in sales was by creating t-shirts and hoodies custom made by people on demand. Now I started off with working with a friend, or my first mentor, in his garage, and he had if you ever seen the t-shirt presses when they're doing like acrylics or when they're pressing ink, he had all the cans around. He had I think about 12 t-shirts you can press at a time, so if you wanted to have like different designs. I remember it was pretty awesome because I didn't think that you could start from really nothing, which was his story, and now he has this well-known local t-shirt printing business, and I got to be a part of that for some time. And so he's printing me these shirts for my brand and what I was doing, and then he gave me a really good deal on these shirts that he made that people couldn't afford. And so I went and I started selling those too, got a really good deal on it, and I was just really into entrepreneurship at the time. And I was reading Think and Grow Rich, I was reading The Go-Giver, just reading all these books that were talking about entrepreneurship and the ability to make riches from your ideas. And what I came to find out was maybe there's more for me to do. Maybe there's something I can provide to people that the market doesn't have yet. And so I noticed that my colleague or my mentor, he would charge pretty reasonable prices, but at the same time he was doing a lot of work. And so I tried to figure out, there has to be some way that the target market that I want to do, the niche I want to do, there has to be a way that I can make more money by working less. And so what I did was I worked at Wendy's, got some money, and I met a business partner who I also bought t-shirts from. And that's what started off this really great relationship. My first business and the first entrepreneurship, my first selling role that wasn't official, was selling my own t-shirts and hoodies. And so I would make these clothes for women, like hoodies, little crop tops, things like that. I would also make things for men, like sweatpants and socks and t-shirts and hats and stuff like that, and it was all okay. But one day he asked me, hey, do you want to come and do this with me, and we can do this together, like a partnership? And I'm like, why not, right? It's already something I'm doing, why not just do this officially? So I get into this role working inside of the mall, and it's my first business that I'm a partner of. First thing, and I didn't do it alone. And I think some of the greatest businesses to this day, you can start them alone, but I think it takes partnerships to really get them off the ground. It takes having people who know how to do it already, also with new faces and the upcoming generation, as well as people who might be successful at it more than you know how to do, right? So we all bring our skills to the table. They teach me how to sell. I know how to keep up the act. I know how to come at it lively. I know how to get more money out of people. And I just basically started selling t-shirts and hoodies. I ditched the socks, I ditched the hats, I ditched the sweatpants, and I focused mainly on t-shirts and hoodies because that's what the business was around. And so I learned how to manage a sales team. I brought in friends from the street. I brought in people who were looking for sales roles or just something that can give them a bit more money and time freedom. And so we brought them in, and I failed. I failed dismally, like so bad that you wouldn't even think I would want to try it again. And so what I figured out was you need to learn how to manage people, and I needed to figure out how do I scale my sales team. And I took a bunch of classes on Coursera. I did these coaching classes, got inside master classes with entrepreneurs, some of who are some of the biggest names to this day, but 6-8 years ago they were really just on the up and up. They were up and coming, and so not a lot of people knew about them, but I got to be inside their master classes and figured out, oh damn, this is how you run a sales team. Having a set schedule, set times, that's how you run a team. Having KPIs, that's how you have a team. Having bonuses they can hit and showing appreciation by taking them out to dinner, this is how you have a manageable sales team that's accountable. Holding people to goals and helping them objection handle, this is how you run a sales team. And so I was like, okay, this is pretty fun. For the next 2 to 3 years, we take the company from here in Billings, Montana, we take it to Utah, Salt Lake City, we take it to Yakima, Washington, Seattle, Idaho Falls, we take it over to Missoula, Wyoming, and the mall that doesn't even exist no more. But not all of the shops that we set up worked, and the ones that did work, they're still there to this day. You can go into a mall, you can see a t-shirt and a hoodie press. Good chance that I was the guy who actually set that up. Good chance that I was working there at one point, and you probably met me there. Maybe you don't remember because I had shorter hair, but good chance that I put the people there and that we were part of the company that is there now. So we basically do this, or I do this for about 3 years, and then I decide, you know what, this isn't what I want to do anymore. I want to go and I want to do something harder. This is really fun. This is really awesome. This might not be it for me. So I want to go and manage even bigger sales teams. I had a team about across the states, maybe about, I'd say 20, 25 people, give or take, when things are fluctuating. Obviously, when you have busier times, you need to bring in people, and then as times slow down, you need to put people off to the side. And so we would fluctuate anywhere from like 20, 25, maybe 27 people, given the season and how busy things are and where the location is at. I'm like, I want to go manage a team of 50 people. I want to go manage a team of 100 people. So I go and I get into telecommunications, I get into insurance, and that's a whole different ballgame. And it taught me how to do contracts. It taught me how to handle contract objections, how to get people to understand the value of doing something now versus later. And I got into a really good program with a really well-known trainer to this day who's probably considered one of the best in the business. Now, I'm not going to say any names because I don't want any backlash or anyone to say anything, but what I did was I got inside of his program and I went through the training process, and I took that training and I implemented it in my business with my sales team, and that's how I created the #1 sales team in insurance, and it's how I created the #1 sales team at a really large box retailer that does telecommunications. Now, I don't want to again say any names, but there is a track record for me in this town. If you're ever in Billings, just ask them about me and they're gonna say good things, and they might say bad things. The bad things that, hey, that guy's an asshole, that guy's someone who you don't really want to fuck around with, he really means about his business, he's one of those people that you can't really do the less with him, he's always pushing you to do more, you don't really get a break with that guy. But the people that I did work with, they're on to being some of the best managers in the industry. Some of them have went from being little sales reps to being managers of their stores to being district managers in their companies. And so everyone has a mentor for something, is what I came to figure out. And how I got my start in sales was by always seeking that mentor who can teach me more, always seeking that person who's doing it better, and then going to the people who already have a business and selling my services and products to them, and then learning the art of how to manage a sales team, and then the art of handling objections. if you can do those things, then there's no reason why you wouldn't be good at sales. Now, if you're someone who likes to argue, you might do good at it. If you're someone who likes psychology, you might do really good at it. But if you're someone who's afraid of talking to people, I would implore you to do sales, because it's only going to make you more confident in yourself, in your abilities. It's going to make you really confident in what you can do. So this is how I got my start in sales. It was very unconventional versus how some of the other people have done it. I started off at the bottom. Whenever I went to another company, I always started off at the bottom. Even if there was a manager role, I would want to start at the bottom, because it teaches you what they're going through, and there's no empathy you can get larger than that, than from starting where everyone else is starting from, at least the ones who don't get offered a manager role. The thing about the managers I noticed in my company, they have a hard time looking at everything with empathy and saying, hey, I've been in your shoes, I've been there before. A lot of them don't like to talk about when they were sales reps, or they just were never a sales rep. They've always been an account executive or a manager, which is just another account executive. And so they never understand what it's like to have to go and get your own deals, to have to feed your pipeline, to have to handle the objections, to set the meetings, to close the meetings, to be able to do all of this stuff, because they're just managing pipeline and looking at quotas and numbers. Now, not all managers do that. Not all managers are built the same, but the top managers, I truly believe, usually start off as sales reps, and those are the people that I love to work with. Now, in sales, you got to be coachable. There's a lot of skills that you need to learn, but I'm going to save that for you next time. This was just, a lot of people have been asking me, Bryan, how did you get started in sales? And this is how I want to tell you. This is how I got started. It was very unconventional, but I think if we were to learn anything from it, pull out your gold nuggets and see what you can get.